Hello and welcome to Kugamon. In this video, I'll be walking you through a subscription management demo for Salesforce sellers. So let's jump right in and explore it further together. The first distinct workflow is a new sale. This represents the chance to do business with a brand new customer, and this starts with an account record. Then that opportunity to do business arises and a opportunity is created. Then a quote and order can be created leveraging our Kugamon CPQ functionality. Then once that sale is processed, it will kick off our Kugamon Subscription Management functionality, which will also fire off our Kugamon billing and Kugamon revenue scheduling functionality. But that highlights our new sales process. As you can see, I'm logged into Lightning and Kugamon, and I'm currently looking at this product management view. Now, this is primarily for admins as it's going to make their life much easier to navigate here and then create any necessary product catalogs, products, price books, and modify any additional product info records. But I'm now going to click into the app launcher and then into Kugamon. And now you'll notice on my screen that I'm currently looking at a brand new instance of Kugamon. There is no data. And what I'm about to demonstrate is purely out of the box. So what I'm going to do first is locate and click into the Accounts tab. And then I'm going to click into a example account, University of Arizona. So here we have our account record, and I'll just note that Kugamon is very flexible. From this account record, you can just jump straight to creating a new quote or a new order. However, most of our customers actually have a sales cycle. So I'm going to scroll down and show you some of the related lists. Kugamon brings these related lists to a account record where you'll be able to see the related quotes and orders and the additional account info tied to this account. However, you'll notice that we don't see much information because there hasn't been a deal closed with University of Arizona. So I'm going to start initiating that process by clicking into this new sale opportunity record. Again, Kugamon brings a lot of flexibility to the opportunity record, which would allow me to jump straight to generating an order, for example, but most of our customers have a sales cycle, so I'm going to go ahead and click into Generate Quote to generate a quote record. Now, on our quote record, you'll notice that there's a lot of pre-filled information entered onto our quote record already. And this is a key differentiator between Kugamon and our competitors. In other words, when a quote is created, Kugamon will pre-fill all of these key details already onto the quote for speed, convenience, and accuracy. As you can see, we have the key details regarding the contact, the billing, and whether this particular account pays taxes or not. And if you take a look at this and realize that Jane Gray is actually not the contact buying personnel, and you go about changing that at this step, the Kugamon system will actually remember and apply that change next time. If you take a look at the contact information and realize that the contact buying is not actually Jane Gray, and you go about changing it at this step, the Kugamon system will actually remember that change for next time and apply it. Again, it's all about speed and convenience, which is a key differentiator between Kugamon and other competitors. Now I'm going to navigate to the top and click into Edit Lines, and this will open up our configurator. This configurator is built entirely on Lightning, and it's quite snappy and responsive. Now if I click into New Group and then into Add Lines, I have the option to select an appropriate product catalog that I want to use for this quote. So let's say I want to add from the generator catalog, so I can click Next. I'm dropped off at the product catalog view. Now, we have many different views which offer a lot of personalization, just unique to each end user of Kugamon. And this is also a big differentiator because sometimes these views would make sense for a particular industry, while it wouldn't make sense for another industry. So you can really fine tune how you want the information presented to you within your product catalog. I can also easily favorite a commonly used product, and favorited products can easily be accessed here within the favorites folder. I can also leverage this sidebar filter panel we have as a advanced filter functionality, built as if Salesforce were to build this functionality themselves. In other words, our functionality purposefully mimics Salesforce's existing functionality to make an end user's experience as seamless as possible and completely native. Now, I showed you some views, but personalization is exclusive for each end user. So if I was a power user and I just wanted to start off within my favorites folder, I can easily do that. I can go here and I can click into the gear icon, layout settings, and save current layout. That way, each time I open this product catalog, I'm dropped off here. Now, if I go back, let's say I have these four different support options and their SKUs, but I may not actually know the key differentiator between them. So I can actually toggle into comparison mode, then click to add all four support items, then click Next, and be able to see all four support items side by side. And this helps me better understand what the real differentiator is between these four without needing to even leave this view. This comparison mode functionality is unique to Kugamon and is not available with any other solution. So I'm going to now click back and toggle out of comparison mode and remove all of these items. Now let's just talk about the types of products or services that Kugamon supports. I can sell standalone products and services, but Kugamon also supports groupings, referred to as kit bundles, and configurations. Let's say I wanted to sell this configurable GenWatt diesel 10 kilowatt product and this GenWatt propane kit bundle. So I've just clicked to add them both. And now when I click next, you'll see that I have the option to select and add any add-ons. So I can just quickly go into each category. And let's say here I want to opt for this app subscription bronze, and it is actually a nested configuration. So I'm going to click into the gear icon, then select my appropriate add-ons, confirm, go back, and now confirm, then click next. And now I'm looking at the kit bundle. So here I'm going to select this option, professional services, confirm, and then click next. Now I'm back within edit lines, and I just want to call out one thing that differentiates Kugamon. and that is our ability to handle products, services, and subscriptions. Pricing products are typically defined by quantity times price, whereas services or subscriptions are defined as product times term times price. For example, with this app subscription bronze item, if this sale was only available for, let's say, 3 months, you will see that the system automatically recalculates the total amount value. If the sale was, let's say, 24 months for this subscription, you'll see again that the total amount quickly and easily updates. This alone eliminates the hassle to have multiple SKUs with different terms for the same item. For example, our customers do not need to have a 1 year SKU, a 2 year SKU, a 3 year SKU, because with Kugamon, they only need the one item and they can go in here and easily change the term where applicable. And there's even more features in this, but I just want to give you a taste of what Kugamon can do. So from here, I'm going to click Save All and Close. And next, let's generate our template and see what that looks like. Here is our quote PDF. As you can see, it has all of the key details nicely presented, and it has all of the details tied to the configurable item that we've just added, and any specific terms or additional terms related to those items as well. I'm going to click back to navigate into our quote record. Now, because this is the first quote tied to this University of Arizona account, it is automatically going to be the primary quote. So if I actually go to this new opportunity and open it here in a new tab, you'll notice that the opportunity products are already synced back to this opportunity record. Additionally, the close date and opportunity amount are also updated. Now, if I go back to the home page and just give each of these reports a quick refresh, you will notice that this initial opportunity pipeline is already showing me the data related to the quote we just made. That quote is still in draft mode. So as it progresses in the sales cycle, more information will be available and it will be shown, and all of my forecasting here will always be up to date and accurate. One of our main Kugamon values is to have accurate numbers. So now on this quote record, if I wanted to, I can clone the quote, and then I can go back into the configurator via edit lines. I can also leverage approvals with our partner Approvals Pro. So here I can add promotions if I'd like. So if I go ahead and click on this new customer credit allowance, it will add that particular promotion. So let's quickly see what that looks like. So I'm going to click into Create PDF. So now I can see that a promotion was added as a new customer credit allowance, and this was categorized as an additional charge in credit. So if I click back and add to this scenario, let's say that University of Arizona loves this quote and they're ready to move forward. Now I'm going to make sure I've checked off all these items within this quote status checklist. I can see that it's not primary, and that's because we've cloned this quote, right? So regardless, we still can generate an order. So I'm going to click on this generate order button here. Now, depending on your unique business process, you might have a sales rep process this order, or you might have someone in sales ops be processing multiple orders. So, depending on how you want to empower your team to actually create the order, we do have this editable checklist here to support your specific needs. All of these checklists are editable to ensure that no steps are missed and no incorrect data is inputted. For example, if this particular sale was tied to a partner, then one of these checklist items can be, is the partner assigned? If you are doing custom work, then maybe one of these checklist items can be, is the custom work submitted? This editable checklist exists on quotes and orders to ensure that your entire process is as seamless, quick, and accurate as possible. Accuracy is actually imperative with Kugamon, and adding this just extra layer of rigor to data is important, especially since this information can be integrated into an alternative platform like an ERP, a provisioning app, or a alternative billing system. So all of the information from the quote record copied nicely onto the order. And you can even record additional information. For example, adding a customer PO number and a PO date. With Kugamon, we also have an order PDF. So here is our order form. As you can see, it contains all of the key details, including the remittance information on this order. And this can actually be sent directly to the customer for a signature, or it can be integrated into a system like DocuSign. However, you can also leverage Kugamon's in-house e-signing functionality. If you wanted to leverage this, you can click into email link, and that would allow you to send a live link to this order. And if I click here in preview, this is actually what that live order would look like. So sending the email link to Jane Gray means that she would actually receive this live order. And when she opens it, she will be able to review all of the important information and scroll all the way down and be able to accept and also e-sign right on the spot. I can sign my own signature or just revert back to typing my signature. And now we can see that the order has been approved. Now, when a sales rep sends out that live order link, they're going to be able to see exactly who viewed it and when it was approved. All of that information lives within the activity tab. Now, the ability to capture payments within Kugamon is all available out of the box. However, with such a high balance amount, you might not want to have those transactions happen over credit card. So instead, what you can actually do is go back into the order and change the payment method to invoice. And now if I go back to that live link and refresh it, so now I can see that the checkout function has been turned off. So from the customer's point of view, they've just accepted and approved this order. And internally on the sales rep's point of view, an email is going to be sent out letting that sales rep know that this particular order has been approved. So if I go back to this order, you'll see that the status is automatically updated to approved. This brings us to this handoff stage within the new sale workflow. Now, this is where the Kugamon CPQ functionality transitions into the Kugamon Subscription Management functionality. And depending on your unique business process, this is where you might have your sales ops or deal desk team step in to actually release the actual order, which will then fire off the Kugamon billing and Kugamon revenue functions. So back on our order, let's say that in this example, a team member from the sales ops team does step in to release this order. And that team member can lean on this editable order checklist to ensure that all of the necessary steps have been checked off. And what's interesting is customers in the past have actually told us that with other platforms, that orphan data is a common thing. For example, an order could have orphan data where the opportunity might be missing. You don't have to worry about that with Kugamon because tools like this editable checklist ensure that data is always accurate and no step is left amiss. So that sales ops team member can rely on this and confirm that all steps have been taken into account and then proceed to releasing the order. So clicking on this release order button is a very powerful action as it will create downstream actionable items, including, if applicable, any shipment records, asset records. It will also create the relevant invoice and revenue schedules. I want to open the related invoice in a new tab. And what you can do is always preview the invoice in PDF form. But you can also send a live link to this actual invoice via the email link functionality. So if I go back and leverage this email link function, I can send a live link to this actual invoice, which will look like this. Now, this invoice can be sent out externally. It can be pushed into an ERP system. And because all of this information lives within Kugamon and Salesforce, there is a lot of cross-linking of information. Now, whichever team member receives this invoice, they're actually able to see on the invoice itself which other team member actually approved the related order. In this case, it's Jane Gray. And we found that this alleviates a lot of frustration around spam invoices that many businesses have to deal with. Now, if I go back to the order and I take a look at the performance tab here and view all of the revenue schedules, I can actually view all of that data very easily and take a look at the revenue that's been earned over time. And since this deal started in August, I can see that only some of the revenue has actually been earned. And if I go back to the details tab, I did mention that if applicable, any assets or subscription records would be created as well. All of this information will be held in this container relationship, which we call the contract. So if I open this in a new tab, I can see all of the key subscription information, assets, and the future renewal opportunity, which is pre-staged for next year. And the line items that were renewable have already been added and recreated. And that's really the beauty and power behind releasing an order in Kugamon. So what did we just do within the new sale workflow? Well, we created our quote and then our order within Kugamon CPQ. We released that order, which then created those applicable contract assets and contract subscriptions. That is within the Kugamon Subscription Management. Then we also created that invoice, which is within Kugamon Billing. Additionally, we also created the revenue schedules, which is our add-on revenue subscription management. If you have any questions about any of these three distinct workflows, do not hesitate to send us your inquiry directly within Kugamon Central or to support@kugamon.com. If you enjoyed this video and want to explore some more, please visit us at www.kugamon.com. And as always, we thank you for tuning in and we look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.